peachydragon.com. Happy creative stuff.
Hey, welcome to another exciting episode of Happy Creative Stuff. So in a previous video, I explained why I started making this 3D Powerpuff Girl model, and I made a model of Blossom. Let me show you a brief sample of the final render that I did. Let me just get that open. Here it is.
Professor? What's the matter? Alright girls, that's the last of the finishing touches.
Okay, I'm just going to give you the whole thing. You have to go through my channel and find the video about the final video to see the whole thing. It's not necessarily a coherent storyline, it's just some stuff that I thought would look interesting. So the first thing you need to do when you want to make a model is think about your approach. How would you like to do it? So I did some research. I looked at what people created online. I'm going to mention these artists, and I'm not criticizing the ability of any of these artists. I mean, everyone's somewhere else on the ladder to success, and everyone is working on their art form. So I'm going to go through them and explain what we can learn from looking at these. This is Juanita Kumnui from Beyonce. I don't know how you pronounce her name. And I like what they did here. I like the lighting, and her proportions of the Powerpuff Girls aren't bad. The thing that I don't like, there are a few images from this that I would do differently, is they've got really big bulging eyes. And what she did is she modeled the eyes as separate objects. And I don't think it works very well with the style and the design of the Powerpuff Girls themselves. So also another thing is that because the eye is completely visible, they look like they're very surprised the whole time. Other than that, the hair and the bodies and the whole background and the render I think is very good. So let's look at a few other examples. And we can see still the same problems. I really like the renders though. They look very, very lifelike, the sun looks very realistic. Okay, so this is a user from DeviantArt called Chaos Rider X. Now, this is the approach I would use to the eyes, even though there are some issues here. I like the modeling, and what this artist did is they used a map to create the eyes. And even the hair in this case, which I wouldn't do. The eyes and the mouth and the hair. So in principle this works very well, but you can see there are some issues here with the mapping. It's folding around the head a bit more than it should. Let's look at another example. Also from DeviantArt, this is from Air E. Dale Dogs. This one is similar to the last one. I think the mapping is slightly better, but it has similar problems. The body is also a little bit blocky. A lot of times your main issue is proportions. A lot of these artists don't follow the proportions of the original cartoon, and I'll show you some other examples where they do. Okay, here's an example of an artist called Tifu, or Taifu, T-I-F-U, on DeviantArt, and this is much better. And the main difference is that the proportions are very similar to the actual designs of the girls on the show. So the only thing I would change here is also the hair was mapped onto the head. I might choose to do that differently. And the lines surrounding the eyes and the mouth are very thin. And if you look at the cartoon show, they were quite thick lines. So that's the only thing I would change, but this is one of the best ones I've seen online. This is by an artist also from DeviantArt called Carter Arts. That's Carter with 2 T's. This one is actually very good. I wouldn't change much. This render is a bit shiny, but I really like this artist's approach, and they executed it very much the way that I would like to. Mine, the hair is a bit different, but same kind of style. Here is, here's another example, same artist, Carter Arts. So I just wanted to get that one out of the way. I think this looks great. Look at the facial expression. Let's move on to this one. This one's also not bad. I think it's a bit soft and round on the edges of the hair. The eyes, the proportions of the eyes seem a bit off, but it's quite close compared to some of the others. This one I just thought was really fun. It's not as accurate to the cartoon, but whoever made this really captured a lot of emotion in the poses. Continue. This one I actually like. It's a bit rough, it looks a bit like cookie dough, but it does look very realistic. So the person who was modeling this was probably still learning, but it's a really good effort. It looks great. I wouldn't even be sure if this was 3D unless you look at the next frame. By the way, this is an artist called Jesus Balbastro and this was on CG Trader. So you can probably download these models online. Really not a bad effort. This is from a cardboard folding model. I just quite like the look of this. I really think it works and it shows you the correct proportions. So once you've looked at these, this is from the PlayStation 1 game. And if you look at that, you can really see why it works when you have the correct proportions. And then there's a video from the PlayStation 1 game where you can see what the professionals do, and they really do it very well. Let's look at a short bit of the clip and then I'll talk about it.
We added an extra ingredient to the concoction, Chemical X. Thus, the Powerpuff Girls were born! Using their ultra superpowers, Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup have dedicated their lives to fighting crime and the forces of evil.
So you can see their models are very good, and the proportions are close to the show's proportions. Also, the mapping on the faces with the eyes and the mouth, you've got quite thick lines around them. It's really a good execution. So, once you've got your research and you have your approach, what you want to do, you need some kind of reference material. So I looked online and I found model sheets of the characters. Here's one for Blossom, here's one for Bubbles, and here's one for Buttercup. So you get a front view and a back view. You still need a side view. So I found these where you get a side view for each. So you're going to pull that into your program and you're going to use that as your reference. I'm going to go to a next video to show how I modeled that. But I do want to discuss some of my other videos that I do have. Besides the final render, I have some interesting videos where you can see how the mapping works. Let me play a short clip from this.
If we had some real talent, we could raise money, but we don't.
So you can compare the reference material with the final and all the different stages, and I discuss how that works. And then also a similar one with the mapping.
If we had some real talent, we could raise money, but we don't.
So that looks, that's a lot of fun just to compare and to discuss it. So please look at the other videos. So thanks for watching. Here to end off is the contact details for Happy Creative Stuff and Peachy Dragon. On Facebook, we're Happy Creative Stuff and we're Peachy Dragon Photography. On Twitter, it's Peachy Dragon. On Instagram, it's Peachy Dragon 2. And on good old YouTube, it's Happy Creative Stuff. Also, for good old-fashioned websites, I've got peachydragon.com and I have happycreativestuff.com if you want to look at some of what I'm doing or want to send me a message or contact me.
This video is awesome. peachydragon.com. Happy Creative Stuff.